Let's learn about colons and semicolons. These are great punctuation marks if used sparingly. They add drama to words, but if you use them too much, they tend to call attention to themselves. Also, you could probably get around with never using colons or semicolons at all in your writing. So if they're a problem for you, I suggest you omit them. It's better to not use them than to use them incorrectly. But once I show you what to do, you shouldn't have a problem at all. So here's what you need to know about a colon. Use it only after a complete sentence. The girls had this to say, colon, nothing. See how that adds drama to that sentence? Never use the word including, followed by a colon. Eden ate only white breakfast foods, including eggs, toast, and grits. So in this case, we would leave out the colon if we were going to use the word including. You can't have both of them in there. And that's because after the word including, we would no longer have a complete sentence. So you can use a colon to introduce noun phrases, lists, quotations, and sentences. Marvin eats only 3 foods: hamburgers, chicken nuggets, and French fries. The colon equals an equal sign, so it's more formal than a comma or a dash. And what follows it is equal to what precedes it. Now, it might not be the same grammatical construction, but the information is equal on both sides. 4 authors tell the story, colon, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Fred was puzzled by a recurring dream. He went to class in his pajamas. Again, a colon follows a complete sentence, and that's super important. I'm really going to be looking for that particular way of writing with a colon. John likes 3 sports: golf, tennis, and swimming. He told a trite joke. Why did the chicken cross the road? Now, the problem word including, let's cover that a little bit again because I want to make sure that you understand. Don't use a colon if a word like including leads into a list. Society faces serious problems, including. Now, I could not put a period after the word including, as you see here, because it would no longer be a complete sentence. Society faces serious problems, comma, including crime, poverty, and pollution. So you have a choice. You either use the word including or you can use a colon, but you can't do both. Now, semicolons have 2 uses only, and I'll show you what those are. They separate 2 complete sentences. We knew the monster was there. We just couldn't run. They separate elements that contain other punctuation. Franklin had 2 sisters, Frida and Frances, 3 brothers, Fred, Ferdinand, and Frank, and 2 pets, Fido and Fifi. So for the second example, if we just use commas, it would be really hard to separate all of these elements. The semicolon keeps them in groups. So a semicolon separates statements that have a special relationship when it separates complete sentences. So you don't want to put a semicolon between any 2 sentences. Instead, you want to put a semicolon between sentences that have a special relationship, that are closely linked. It tells readers to pause, but to expect another statement that adds an explanation. Our losses grew too heavy. We were forced to surrender. So you see it adds a little bit of drama. You could put a period after the word heavy, but that semicolon has those closely related. Now, the second use in a complex list helps us to be able to differentiate among the elements that we list. And this happens quite common in media writing. The president visited Jackson, Mississippi, Houston, Texas, and Houma, Louisiana. Now, those semicolons help us to separate the city-state combinations. But if I didn't have the semicolons, the president could have conceivably visited 6 places. Smith is survived by 2 sisters, Jane and Julie, 3 brothers, Jack, John, and James, and 2 cousins, Jonah and Jonas. So in this case, we would have really a hard time figuring out how many people survived Smith if we could not break those up with semicolons. You see how helpful they are. And I want you to notice here that there is a semicolon before the conjunction. So we don't follow the same comma rule here. We will have that right there. And so that's basically it. It's pretty simple to know the difference and how to use a colon and semicolon. Those are great punctuation marks to add variety and drama to a sentence, but you want to use them correctly.